Good evening, everyone. Welcome to God's Way, Yatave, the Spiritual Viewpoint. I'm your host tonight, Thomas Knights Templar, and sitting in for Aldefina Shepherd is Christine Schiavone. Christine, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Christine Schiavone, and I also do a show here at the studio called Spiritual Exploration. And Tommy's show is on at 9 o'clock on Friday night, and I'm on it right after at 10 o'clock. Let's see now, FiOS Channel 35, Spectrum Channel 79, and we both do similar shows, and I enjoy doing it.
Okay. And first I'll introduce our guest to the right. Okay. Tell us about yourself. Tell them who you are.
Meher I'm a spiritual counselor. I do tarot readings. I do bioenergy healings. And yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And she's a very nice person.
Yes. Okay. And over here we have...
I'm Janice Kennedy. I'm a hypnotist. I'm also a white light healer and a proud mom of 2 children. And I'm looking forward to the show.
Should be a good one.
Okay, both of you are clinical hypnotists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
I believe you studied under the same person?
Under Joshua.
Joshua, yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about who did it first. Let's put it that way.
oh, we did it together.
Yeah. Yeah, we were in the same class.
Did it together. Okay. All right.
It was intense month and a half. It was on the weekends.
Yeah, I know it's it's 5 times, I think it is, something like that.
Yeah, and it's all day. So you're with the same group of people all day. And usually when they teach you hypnotism, it's very clinical.
Yes,
I mean,
it
we are
is.
clinical, but Joshua, the way he does it, he brings the spiritual part of it into it.
He's a very charismatic person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
it
he is. He is.
changes the whole
He changes
outlook.
the dynamic.
Yeah.
I know. I was at one of his seminars, and
It's amazing.
yes.
It's very interactive. You know, we did so many exercises on each other. You know, we got rid of a lot of our fears. It was really nice.
We get you out of your own way.
It does
'Cause
completely.
if you don't get out of your own way, you're not going to be doing this work.
That's right.
No.
You know. And how would you, like you said, you have both of you have your own practice, right?
I don't right now. I do with my family.
Okay.
I
She
take care of my
practices with her family.
My family and friends
They also
right
share
now.
recipes. Okay.
Family and friends right
Okay.
now.
All right. So that's good. That's good. And you have a regular practice, or
I do,
or it's
yes.
word of mouth?
Well, I do work for a couple of centers here in New York, and then
Well, tell them about that one. All right. She works for a particular one that I know of. It's a very good one. What street
yeah.
is that on? 41st? Is it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now they're online mostly, and then at different places because the
Okay.
center shut down. But yeah, and I also work with a lot of clients of mine are from India because that's where I grew up. So you know,
No, I
through
just
word
thought
of
it was
mouth.
Poland. She grew up in India. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I have
Very
a lot of
spiritual
clients
place,
there.
India.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yes,
my wife
very.
traveled there a few times. She loved it.
A lot of
Loved
good
it.
people there, yes.
You
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah,
And you know, it's a very zen area.
it is.
You know. All right. Question I would have for you is like if the average layman comes in to see you, and they have whatever kind of baggage it might be, or they may be sick. How would you go about treating them?
So,
I mean, do you
of course,
get medical diagnosis first and then go from there?
sometimes I ask for the medical diagnosis. Of course, I start with the feel, like just tune into their energies, and then generally, I look into the layers of the chakra. I love working with the chakras because they're very specific. Like if you look into the mental layer, it'll give you mental information. But I come from the belief that any kind of physical issue that has been diagnosed always stems up from something mental.
Has a mental issue.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
So I try to go into the root cause. So yeah, I tap it through the chakras and then generally ask them for confirmation if they have a medical diagnosis. Sometimes it's not diagnosed yet, but it's kind of brewing out there, and that's the best stage to catch it in. And
Yeah.
So you
work
can
on.
tell a person's diagnosis before they might even get it from a doctor, huh?
There are times I get it. Yeah. I mean, so more than the diagnosis, the issue that's brewing, and then I tell them you need to take care of, this specific
'Cause something might
chakra or
develop
part of the
if you-
body that's really, yeah.
Right.
And then they generally say, oh yeah, I've been having slight issues with this. So I'm like, well, this is more of concern versus that's not so much of concern. So
Yeah.
something to that effect.
And you, madam?
And me? I
All right,
talk
I'm
to
coming
them.
to you. I'm coming to you. My back is messed. It really is. They don't want to do surgery, but I'm coming to you. I'm having a problem with my back. What are you going to tell me? What are you going to do for me?
Well, first I would talk to you, and I would find out.
I'm very interesting, I know. Go ahead.
I would find out, like, maybe when your back started hurting you, what
Yeah.
was going on in your personal life even. Because sometimes it's stemming
related.
from,
Yeah, it's
it
related.
definitely can be related now or from a past life. And that talk is very important to find and to diagnose. And then you go in and, like she does with the layers with chakra, but you,
But you do regression.
yes, you have to regret.
See,
Regression.
A lot of people don't realize that how good regression can be for them because it lets go of a lot of things that they held on for so long that doesn't serve them and only makes them worse.
Yeah.
And they, like we were talking about before, they make a mantra of these terrible things and they say them repeatedly and just magnify that. And guess what? You own it once you do it.
Well, yeah,
They
it's what you
manifest
put
it.
out to the universe that's going to
Well, the
be
universe
what's-
doesn't know right or wrong. God's going to give you exactly what you ask for.
Exactly.
And if you're going to be not enlightened enough to go and say something like that, guess what?
Well, sometimes it also, with the healing I had, I was under hypnosis, and I had issues with my mother and my late husband.
Okay.
I had asthma. My mother died of COPD, and my late husband had severe allergies. And I developed all this.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, I developed all these after they passed. And it was an issue I had to deal with under hypnosis. I had to forgive them, they had to forgive me. And once that forgiveness under hypnosis happened, I was healed.
So
I
what-
never had medication ever again.
A lot of people don't understand that when you are regressed and you have some type of phobia here in this life, and you're regressed and you get back to the point, let's say you're afraid of water, or you feel like you're drowning and you're standing in a puddle, you know what I mean? What they do is that when they regress you to that point, you automatically release.
Yeah.
Okay, then you don't own that anymore when you come back. People should get regressed, especially if you have some kind of thing like that, some type of phobia, fear of the dark, fear of the water, fear of anything,
Yes.
fear of flying, What do
Something
you think of
is-
that?
Yeah, well, no, it's true. It's true.
You fear
have to-
anything?
We all have fears. I
No,
mean,
no.
I'm kind of afraid of heights, but I'll get on an airplane, look out the window.
You're in a
so-
plane, you're sitting down in a chair, what's
I
so
know.
bad to
but
do?
Overcome your
the thing
fear.
You know
is
what I
that-
mean?
Well, people's fear of flying comes from a fear of
Crashing,
crashing. That's right.
what goes up comes down a little harder.
I fear mice.
You
You
fear mice?
Well, because they ran over my feet a couple times when I was younger, and it was a bad situation, so I don't
You
like
know
mice.
who to call.
Yes, I know.
All right, you know who to call for that. I can help you with that. You fear of mice too?
No, I have a fear of, I should probably not own it. I used to have a fear of lizards,
A
but
who?
lizards.
Oh, lizards. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, out of all the things out there, that was one of the creatures.
Snakes.
Lizards don't
Bless
bother
them.
me.
Snakes do it for me.
Okay.
I don't like snakes.
Oh, yeah, snakes I'm kind of fearful of, but
Maybe-
lizards
Yeah.
don't bother me.
Maybe
As
that's
a matter
better.
of fact, I was helping care for a friend's lizard and didn't know. I'm caring for it for days and didn't until the cleaning lady says to me, Christine, there's something I should bring to your attention. I said, yeah? She says, the lizard is dead.
She gave it Reiki. You said good.
No, I
such
mean,
an
I was
animal lover.
changing its water, and I was wondering why I was just laying in one place,
And you?
What, just the mice?
Just the mice. Okay.
But you're right, I shouldn't give any ownership to that.
No, you know what?
They're little mammals. They really don't hurt you.
I can feed them to my stepdaughter's
Oh, no.
snake.
Oh, no.
She has a snake.
Yes.
You had to mention the snake. I'm not coming there. I get a lady flags me down in the street. I'm in my car. I'm not even in my, I got a snake. It's on the, it was the biggest garter snake I ever seen. It's about that big.
Wow.
Looked like an eel.
That's huge.
So I'm looking like this. I opened up the trunk of my car. I had the window scraper. So I
Oh,
go-
and you had a-
I go like this. I knew he was going to coil. So I tapped him. He coiled around. I threw him in a garbage bag, tied him up. That was it.
No,
that's
that
it.
wasn't very nice.
But
Sure
you
was.
did
It's a
it.
snake.
But you
What?
did it. Even though
I didn't want to do it.
but you did it.
I didn't want to do it. Snakes? Afraid of them too?
No, for some reason it's just that one.
We all have that one.
Right?
Let me ask you this question. You're born in India.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where?
Yeah. Bombay.
Bombay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mumbai.
Well, born in the aristocratic part. Anyway, all right, born in Bombay, raised on the principles of the religion, right?
The Hindu
Yeah.
religion?
The religion I was raised under is Zoroastrianism, actually.
Is that Vishnu and all?
My ancestors are from Persia, so they follow Persian
there you go,
religion.
okay.
and It's called Zoroastrianism. It's an ancient.
That's why she's good looking. Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I used to go to all the temples and yeah.
Yeah, temples are beautiful that they have there.
Yeah.
When my wife went there, they dressed her up in a sari and they put the dot on her and stuff like
Oh.
that. And I wanted to say, is that the one that means that you're a virgin? Don't be funny, Tom. So
Actually, a lot of married women wear the dot.
they do, huh?
Yeah, and the red thing in the hair, that's
With the henna?
the sindoor, they call it. The red thing in the hair resembles that you're married. And the
Okay.
dot resembles the activation of the third eye.
Oh, the
That's why
third
it's
eye,
red.
oh,
Yeah.
the third eye, yeah, yeah.
The bit.
So what you do now is actually fits in with your heritage. When you think about it.
Yeah.
What about you? How far to the left of you? Born and raised, what, Roman Catholic?
No, I was born and raised Protestant.
Same shit. Oh,
And
same stuff.
And I converted to Roman Catholic to bring my children up
Okay.
Roman Catholic.
All right.
But I had a little issue this year. My daughter made her communion, and I'm teaching her to be spiritual. And the Roman Catholic Church is fine, but there's some things that you shouldn't be fear. There shouldn't be fear. It should be all about love in my
Yeah.
eyes.
That's
Absolutely.
what it's supposed to be.
And
That's what it's
some
supposed to
of the priests, it was more fear. So I told her, don't worry about it. Just know it's love, and that's it.
be. Get through school.
Mm-hmm.
Get out. And then
She goes,
Be
I just
spiritual.
listen to you, Ma, don't worry.
I was talking about that the other day. I was having this discussion with a priest. And I basically had him saying uncle. He couldn't take it anymore because he couldn't give me an answer.
Yeah.
So that was all right. And sometimes people try to challenge you and try to test your faith to see where you are, what and they do this. Well, if you're such a holy man, why don't you win lotto?
It doesn't work that way.
No.
Listen, somebody just won $242 million on this island. God bless her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I never see anybody win on this island.
Yeah.
All right, and she bought it in Stop and Shop. I shop there all the time too. I'm going to go over and ask
Just
her for a
didn't buy
refund.
any lottery tickets
I'm
there.
going to ask her for a refund. I was there last night. $242 million. Wow.
What
That's
do
a
you
lot
do
of
with
money.
all that? Yeah.
Even if you got half of it, what do you do with all that?
It's
Yeah.
true. Hopefully she'll be generous and give a lot to charity and things
help.
like that.
Family, friends,
Yeah.
everything,
Helping out,
help everybody
yes,
out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, getting back to the healing aspect of the show, we're getting a little off topic.
Right.
Okay, just a little.
A little bit.
Okay. Do people contact you? How do they contact you? Through the ARE Center?
I've seen it's mostly word of mouth.
Word of mouth,
That
okay.
works usually, and also there are repeat clients. Like once you give them
And their friends and family?
friends and family, right? That's mostly
Is it
how.
mainly
'cause,
for healing or they come for reading?
a lot of them come for readings, and then if I pick up something, I generally mention to them that with some people it's very clear that you don't need a reading, you need a healing. Like it's just very clear.
See, what
It's
you just
different.
said, we had this conversation even with Joshua when we were here. When I see somebody and I see they have a problem. All right, I'm not going to tell them. If during the course of, somebody's talking to me, I visualize, I see it. So if I see there's something wrong with their knee, I'm just going to fix it. I'm not going to say nothing to
Yeah.
them. Because the minute I say to them, you should watch that right knee,
Then you just
they're going
manifest.
to they're going to
Yeah,
enforce
right.
that thought, and they're going to have a knee problem.
Right.
So, and that's the pitfall of a lot of
Well, I have a
psychics
question
that do that.
for you girls. How would hypnosis cure something like asthma, diabetes, anything that's kind of a major problem?
Well, I would say you'd have to get to the root of it, where it came from, when it started, were you born with it? Did it come later in life? I believe that probably most likely, if you're born with it, it's from a past life.
Past life, yes.
Because I believe our bodies, we don't get anything unless something was brought forward.
There is no sickness and disease
Right.
in God, therefore there can be none in you. Learn it, say it, know it, believe it.
Yeah.
Don't enforce the negative thought. Your body knows what to do.
Yeah, that's why when we all get upset or we're feeling down, our body reacts. So if you can find out where that disease or whatever started,
Originated
Ailment,
from.
yeah, you can cure it.
I agree with that. The
I'm-
timeline factor is very important in detecting where it came from. Usually childhood
Well, how
or
far do you have to bring them back? During this life's childhood or to childhood maybe 5 generations ago?
Like she said, it depends on when it started. And sometimes they're dormant and there's a trigger that starts it. So
Yeah.
what was the trigger? And sometimes when you go into the trigger, then you can go further down and then go to certain childhood memories when it initially started but then stayed dormant. And that could eventually lead to certain past lives.
So anything that could trigger that could be
What about heredity?
some catastrophic event.
It could be something as simple as
An odor.
like an order from a parent, which they said very lovingly and they
Yeah.
didn't mean it, but there was a comparison and that stuck in the child. So it's mostly not what happened, but their reaction to it or how they internalized it. And sometimes, of course, it is what happened, which was traumatic enough. But if they were little and for them it was such a huge deal, then for them it was a huge deal.
What about hereditary diseases, things that was in the family for generations?
I'm really glad you brought that up. So with all this research going on about epigenetics, it's literally proven that we carry a lot from the way our ancestors behaved, and we pick it up. But there is an element. So the genetics is one factor, but the other factor is that you believe that you're going to get
Yes.
diabetes
Yep.
growing up because constantly you were told that it's a hereditary
family.
disease and
It's a
it's in the
family
family.
thing,
So you own it. And also, most likely you tend to behave, or there are certain things instilled in the way you behave, and there are certain patterns of your parents you pick up, which reinforces it.
Because
So-
you become ritualistic at doing it.
in a way,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a
And
ritual,
because
yeah.
they did it, you kind of do that in the same way, and sometimes you don't even realize what you're
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
over
yeah.
and over. And that also enforces. So breaking the pattern is just as important as not owning it.
But when you have, like say you have, say the issue is being overweight. Short women and they're overweight. And it's been a traditional thing in this family, generational. Okay? Now it comes into this lifetime. And the same, all the so-and-so women are heavy in this family. That's just,
So everybody
that's
has
just,
to
that's
accept
just
that
them.
because
Yeah.
that's part
That's
of
just
the...
them reinforcing that on
Yeah.
you, the child, and guess what?
You're just going
You're
to accept
believing it.
that that's your lot
If
in
you
life.
accept it,
manifesting it on
that's
you.
what you're going to take. The simplicity of this, it really is simple. Don't say it if you don't want to own it. Period, the end.
Words are powerful.
And don't call a disease my this, my that.
My that, this, that, the other. My sciatica, my cancer, my this, my...
Well, what you were also saying is you have the parents that tell the child, like
Yeah,
a friend of mine, breast cancer. Now, usually how people say
Mm-hmm.
is breast cancer is passed on from generation woman, and you see the mother will
And
have
it
it, the
is,
grandmother.
because they're doing it,
right,
they're
and they're like,
programming it.
okay, 20, you have to go get tested. You have to, because this is, and then, oh, well, you know, you should do this and you should do that. And it's all in them, and they get all nervous, and they
Because
manifest
once
it.
Yeah.
once they get nervous about it, I read a book, and I also bought the audio book. It was recommended by Dr. Wayne Dyer, and it was Nita Marjani, one of your countrymen. Okay, and it's called "Dying to Be Me." I really recommend
I
that
really like
that you
that
would listen to this if you get the audio, the story is magnificent. That somebody had billions of cancer cells in less than 30 hours to live, and miraculously left the body, went to the other side, changed her energy, did everything, came back to the body, and within 2 or 3 days she was perfectly fine. Cancer just disappeared.
Did you call that a miracle?
I call that a hell of a miracle. You better believe it.
Yeah.
You know, and these things are possible. But the whole thing that happened to her is that generationally, it was instilled in them cancer, because somebody had cancer many, many years ago, and everybody in each family lifetime was getting cancer. And it certainly happened to her because she feared it. You know, she went to India, and she was taking some kind of specialized diet that they had there. I forgot what she called it. But it was this specialized diet. She was on that, and she started to improve. Because let's face it, you know, when you do things and you change that which you have been doing normally, and you go to a different venue, you'll start to bring on the healing, the natural goodness of vegetables and things like that that you can use, and not these things that are sprayed with toxins and GMO or GHMO, whatever they are. What are they?
Oh,
GMOs,
yeah, something like that.
yeah, growth hormone type of thing. You know,
Especially with milk and meat.
the what?
Milk, meat,
Milk, meat, it's
soy,
included.
corn even.
Even the corn. They're genetically modifying everything. Look at the size of the cows.
Look at the children nowadays.
Yeah,
They're-
huge, and it's so developed, so young.
They're different. They're growing up before they should. And that wasn't like when I was growing up. We weren't.
No.
We weren't like that. We weren't mature like that.
They're
We're
just-
growing up too fast.
Right.
They're terribly advanced, and that there is just the sign of the times at this time. And the fact that it's accepted, so readily accepted, you know what I mean? Nobody calls a red flag on that, but it's okay to do something bizarre, and that's all right, you know, so.
Well, when we all grew up, Mom cooked. You know, it was, you had your,
When we all grew up, Mom was home. Okay?
cooked.
She didn't have to have two people go out because you can't afford New York. You can't pay the rates here.
right, true. But now everything's microwaved. Everything's already, oh, you know what, 5 minutes, dinner in the oven. It's
Take it out of the
it's-
freezer, stick it in the
right.
microwave, serve
And
it.
it's so good. And all those nitrites in that potato is just delicious. Throw some butter on it, you're good. Anyway, well, now you know why you'd be doing healing. You'd be eating that stuff.
Well, healers are
Agree.
more necessary today than I think ever before.
There's too much emphasis on regular general medicine. You know, not to knock doctors or anything
No,
like that.
no one would ever recommend
But,
not to see a doctor,
No,
but you can
no,
add
but they're
the
not doing
holistic healings to it.
yes.
They're not doing mind, body, spirit.
Yeah.
When you do the complete thing, medicine, mind, body, spirit, then you cure. When you just do, take this chemical, take this thing, it's chemicals.
Well,
These
none of
chemicals
it's a
are not-
cure. It's only masks the symptoms. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just subsides it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you never get cured by these things.
No.
You know, what do they give you? You hurt your back, give you a painkiller. And what do they do? Get you hooked on oxycodone.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, look at the generation of kids we got today, and because of it.
And these things that they're doing, they try to really do stupid things like eating Tide Pods and things like that. A challenge. They call it a
Yeah.
challenge. What they're doing with certain.
But those kids' kidneys are really clean.
Oh, sure. And the rest of their body too, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, who would be idiotic enough to do that?
They'd be surprised with it. I
Peer
can't even
pressure.
repeat some of the stuff these kids were telling me that kids are doing today.
But
It's really.
It's all psychological. They want to fit in. That's all. They're just trying to
Fit into what? A laundry,
Yeah, I
laundry
know.
bin?
No, but at that age,
Tide?
yeah.
They're going to end up fitting into a coffin. That's what they're
Well,
going to do.
they keep on doing stupid things like that, they will.
Yeah.
Well, the family unit broke down. That's
That- well,
what's,
yes.
You know,
That's-
yeah, right.
that's the
a lot
reason,
Of
a
parents
lot of
want
it.
the schools and everybody else to raise their kids, and they don't bother chipping in at all. No advice, no, you know, they
Not my
don't talk to
child.
their well, I'm sure.
Right.
No, I'm sure
No,
there are
that's what I'm saying.
plenty
That's
of
what they all
parents that
say.
are good, that are doing the right thing with their kids. But there's a lot of people that they're walking around, they're in a fog, and the kids are going to be in a fog.
And they're in the
Oh, yeah. and
videos, that's it.
Yeah. And so.
Which actually causes a lot of craniosacral issues.
Yeah, I'm sure. And obesity in these children, you see a lot of
Well,
fat
look what they're
kids.
eating. They're sitting down eating
They're
chips,
eating
eating
and
crap.
they're sitting in front of a computer
and they're playing in front of a
games.
computer. You know?
And then
They
they
don't
get
sit at the
taught,
table anymore.
taught these games where people are killing each other.
I told you today when we were having breakfast, right? What did
Yeah.
I tell you about? How many murders
Oh,
that
sure.
a 12-year-old sees by the time he turns 12?
Yeah.
Something like 13, 14,000.
And they're sexualizing everything on TV for the young
Well, you
kids.
see what they're doing. Not only are they doing that, but they're also trying to take all these things that are on fringes of what morality would be, trying to make it the norm by throwing it in your face. Okay? And you know what? That's fine if that wants to be somebody else's morality. That is not mine.
No, mine
And I don't
either.
want my children exposed to that. But you say that, you're a bigot. Okay, please.
Well, people think I'm crazy because my 8-year-old doesn't have a television in her room. What do you mean? She doesn't have video games? No.
That's
she doesn't.
cruelty.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
so deprived.
When she goes to high school, maybe.
The funniest part about it is because I punished my daughter. I sent her to a room.
Yeah, where she's got
You
a
did-
television,
She
has
a
everything.
She got a
computer,
TV, a computer, a cell phone.
do
right?
whatever she wants. That
What
doesn't hurt.
did you do? You punished her? That's punishment. What did you do? You give her a food? She has a box of Twinkies in the closet. It's the truth, isn't it?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. And then they eat the Twinkies
What about
and
the
they got too much
psychological
sugar.
with these people?
Oh,
When you
yeah.
get people come in that actually have a psychological issue, like the children, a lot. You know, I think a lot of children too are misdiagnosed with this ADD and
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
so
definitely.
I mean, I just think that sometimes it's the teachers have a child that is a little off center when it
Rambunctious.
comes to rambunctious, and right away he's hyper, he's this, he's that. Stop labeling these kids. They didn't do that in my day.
I
No.
have an interesting theory about ADD that I once read. And so in ancient times, there were the hunters and the gatherers. The gatherers were used to being in groups and doing their daily planting and growing day after day. And the hunters were used to being alone, going out there, and they would have to be like on high alert, like the defenders or the Marines or
Yes.
whoever. And then once they come in and they've done their kill and they've fed the village, they would be on days of rest. So the theory is that people who've done that evolved into, you know,
Yeah.
in other lifetimes, they evolved into a certain type of a type A type of personality,
Right.
which is labeled as ADD. But it's every human being. It's different. They just need a different type. That child needs a different type of care. If you understand his patterns,
Yes.
that, you know, he's all the way out there, you need to make use of that excess energy in a good way. And then when he needs rest, he needs that rest. That is his pattern. And there are ways to stabilize it, but
I mean, I see, you know,
Yeah.
getting these kids all messed up with these drugs and Ritalin and all those
Yeah.
different types of things.
Most of it's not necessary.
And I believe that. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just that they don't want
know
to
what it
deal with
is.
these kids.
That's right. Too many
that's-
parents do not want to deal with their children, so they will allow them to go on these drugs that are supposedly keeping them calm, so that the parents can go and do whatever they please and not have to worry about what the kids are doing.
But they should use hypnosis first.
Yeah.
Because the children are the highest susceptible people to,
Absolutely.
you know,
Emotional traumas.
yes.
Absolutely.
But hypnosis can help children more than anyone.
Yeah, because children would be open to it.
Exactly. They don't know. They still have that imagination. They still
Right.
have all that stuff. They're so
yeah,
susceptible.
the
It's
imagination's so
it's
vivid.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
And you nip it in the bud. You know, you do it right there. When children are cured at that age, then as they grow into adults, sometimes it's so hard to go back and